Okay, thank you so much for everybody joining us today. Today, we're going to do another webinar in regards to the California Relief Grant Program that is funded by the state of California and being operated by Lendistry, the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation as a proud partner. Today, we'll be presenting more information and we will do a Q&A session as well to get all of your questions answered. First, I want to start with just a brief agenda of what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be we're going to do an overview of the California Relief Grant Program, and we're going to do a small break so that we can do a Q&A session about the grant program. And then we're going to do a live demonstration of the application so that I can show all of you how to submit an application, and then we're going to conclude with the Q&A session. And before we get started with that, first, I would like to introduce Janet Bettishansky, who is the VP of Strategic Partnerships. She is with Lendistry. She's here to talk to us a little bit more about the program and also give us a brief update. Janet, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Yidi. Thank you for having me today. Welcome, everyone. I appreciate you taking the time to join this presentation today, hosted by the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation. We're happy to work with them. Lendistry is a community development financial institution, and we're also a fintech company, and we're partnered with the state to help with this application process. And so I wanted to take the time to speak a little bit about the technology behind it and give you some technology tips. I found that a lot of applicants during this process have had a lot of questions in regards to their application status. So I just want to provide you with a couple tips, and Judy, I'm sure she'll go over some tips as well. And so she demonstrates the demo. And so when you're applying, when you go onto this www.careliefgrant.com, you'll be able to select a partner based on your language or based on your county. So when you log in, so when you go onto the website, you select your partner, and at that point, you'll be able to apply with that specific partner. It's important to remember that partner because you're going to be able to have access to your application through their specific URL link. For example, if you apply through the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation, but then you selected the Small Business Development Center's portal login, the application will not match, right? So you want to go to the original organization that you applied with. At that point, you'll be able to complete an application. It's important that you go through the process and you hit complete, and then you'll be prompted to type in yes, this application is complete. If you decide to come back later, it'll prompt you to hit complete and save. So that's one of the tips I want to share with you to make sure that you go through the application and you type in yes and you confirm, and that's how we know that your application has been submitted. If it's not, when you log into your account, you'll find that it's going to give you an application, your application ID number that starts with DIR, and it's going to say incomplete. That does not mean you submitted your documentation. It just means that you did not submit your application. If you did submit your application, you'll see when you log in, it'll say pending documents. And once you go in there and you upload your documents, it still will remain pending documents because there's a banking portion that's not required for you to complete. So just keep in mind, if you log in and you're saying, oh, well, I completed my application, I uploaded my documents, but it's still showing pending. That is okay. As long as you upload your documents and you completed your application by clicking on confirm and typing yes, that means that your application is complete. And on our end, on Lendistry, then we can see every application that has come through, and if you uploaded your documents and if you completed your application. Again, if you log in and it says incomplete, it's because you did not submit your application, you did not click confirm, and you did not type yes. So just make sure you take those steps. Another thing that we found is that applicants are applying multiple times. Maybe you applied as a nonprofit, but you were supposed to apply as a for-profit business. That's okay. Just make sure that if you applied for nonprofit and you want to switch it to for-profit, you just go in there and you just apply with the new application for. So at point, we were unqualified the nonprofit one because your intention was to apply for for-profit, and we understand that. So just make sure you're not applying multiple times through multiple partners. In our system, we can see if there's multiple applications online. And the third tip that I want to go ahead and provide you is that when you're uploading your documents, when it prompts to upload documents, it will say complete. Just make sure that it is green and it says complete. That means that we have received your document. It's important to take that extra step. And I'm sure Yudi's going to go through that process with you, so you can go ahead and she'll show you how it works. Well, we're very happy to be part of this process. We're really happy to work with Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation, and I'll leave it to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janet. And just like Janet mentioned, I will be covering some of this information in the presentation. But for now, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box, and we'll go ahead and take a break midway here so that we can help answer some of those questions for you. So Janet, thank you so much for being with us today. So to go ahead and get started, I also just want to briefly share information about the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, we provide assistance to small businesses. And so what we're doing right now, we're providing virtual technical assistance. And so what that means is that we're helping entrepreneurs develop business skills and connect them to business resources through one-on-one technical assistance. And that's whether you're looking to start or expand your business. We are also hosting weekly webinars. So through virtual education workshops, we educate and train entrepreneurs in areas such as business plan development, legal, marketing, and finance, among other areas. Our microloan program provides financing to small businesses, and we assist with the loan application process. In addition, we help identify any other financial resources to start or expand small businesses. So please take note of our contact information. We are located here in downtown Fresno. We are also on social media. Please follow us so that you can be up to date with new information and all of the different programs and webinars that we have available to you as a small business. And you can also visit our website or give us a call so that we can help you with anything that you may need. So program overview. So as many of you know, this program is being administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate, also known as CalOSBA, and it is in partnership with Lendistry. It is funded by the state of California, and so $475 million are to be distributed by Lendistry to eligible small businesses and nonprofits that have been impacted by COVID-19. There will be 2 rounds of funding. We are currently on the first round, which the deadline is this week on Wednesday, January 13th, 11:59 p.m. So if you have not submitted your application, please make sure you do so. And if you need help, please contact us so that we can help you and get your application in on time. Now, it is important to mention that the program is not on a first come, first served basis. And so all of the applications that are submitted through the deadline, which is by the deadline, January 13th, will be considered. Now, how are the recipients going to be determined? There's 4 key factors that are going to be looked at. The businesses located in areas impacted the most based on the COVID health and safety regulations. Businesses impacted the most financially based on gross revenue losses will also be looked at. We are also looking at impacted industries, including retail, food and hospitality, health and wellness, and personal care, such as the beauty salons, the spas, and the barbershops. And the 4th factor is going to be underserved small business groups, such as women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, where at least 51% of the owner falls in that category, and that businesses are located in low to moderate income and rural community areas. So those are the factors that will be looked at to determine the recipients. Now, who is eligible? And this presentation is going to be focusing on the small businesses, not the nonprofit. Okay, so this is only for small businesses. To be eligible, businesses must have a physical address and operate here in the state of California. You must be a small business operating since at least June 1st of 2019. So that means that if you started your business this year in 2020, right when the pandemic hit or right before, you are not eligible. You had to have been in business at least since June 1st of 2019. You must have at least $1,000 in annual gross revenue, but no more than $2.5 million. And you're going to use what was reported on your most recent tax returns, whether that's 2019 or 2018. Independent contractors and 1099 workers are eligible to apply for this grant. Businesses must currently be operating or have a clear plan to reopen once the state of California permits opening of the businesses. So let's say that your business is closed right now because of the regulations you have to close. That is okay. You can still apply as long as you have a clear plan to reopen. However, if you decided to shut down your business, you're no longer going to operate it, you are not eligible. You must have a clear plan to reopen once the regulations allow you to do so. You must be impacted by COVID-19, so you must have had some kind of business interruption or closure for you to be eligible to apply. And it is also important to mention that individuals with ITIN numbers are eligible to apply as well, and that's with individual tax identification numbers are eligible. So all of the grant information and the application guide can be found on the website, which is careliefgrant.com. Again, we are recording this webinar. We are going to be sending it out so that you can have this information as well, and you can have the presentation slides as well. Now, who is not eligible to apply? Again, there's a complete list on the website, so please visit the website for more information. I'm just going to share with you here the most common. So businesses without a physical location in California is not eligible. Businesses primarily engaged in political or lobbying activities, churches and other religious institutions. Financial businesses are primarily engaged in the business of lending, such as banks, finance companies, and factoring companies are not eligible to apply. Businesses engaged in any activity that's illegal under the federal, state, or local law. And multiple business entities, franchises, locations, etc., are not eligible for multiple grants. And this has been a question that's come up a lot. If you own a business that has multiple locations, as long as it's one business, and as long as all those locations are under one business, you are eligible to apply. However, if you own one business 100%, you own another business 50%, or you own another business 20 or 30%, you can only apply for one of those businesses. So you need to decide which of those businesses you apply. And what we are recommending is that you apply for the business that has the highest revenue so that you can benefit of a larger grant amount. So you can only apply for one business. Now, how much can you apply for? It's going to be determined based on annual gross revenue. That's why we ask you to look at the business to apply for the business that has the highest revenue. So if your annual gross revenue is between $1,000 and $100,000, you are eligible for a $5,000 grant. If your revenue is between $100,000 and $1 million, you're eligible for a $15,000 grant. If you're between $1 million and $2.5 million, then you're eligible for a $25,000 grant. So there's going to be a section in the application where it's going to ask you how much are you applying for, and there's going to be this matrix there for you to identify what is the most appropriate amount for your application. Now, let's say that you do get the grant. What can you use it for? What are the eligible uses of the funds? Costs incurred due to the COVID-19 pandemic, such as employee expenses that include payroll, benefits, paid sick, medical, family leave, insurance premiums are all eligible. Working capital, which includes rent and utilities, are eligible. Costs associated with reopening the business is eligible as well. And costs associated with complying with the regulations. So, for example, all of the personal protective equipment that you had to purchase, any plexiglass barriers that you had to install if you're in the restaurant industry and you had to set up some outdoor dining areas, all of those costs are eligible. And any other COVID-related expenses not already covered for the same period through any other grants that you might have received as well. Now, ineligible uses include expenses that are not related to COVID-19. So any employee bonuses, taxes, legal settlements, personal expenses, those are not eligible uses of funds. Now, there's 4 key documents required when you're submitting an application. So we ask that you have these ready before you start to fill out your application so that you can have it ready to go once you're ready to upload the documentation. The first one is the application certification. And what this one is basically you're certifying for the business and that the information you're providing is true and correct. This will be available to you in different areas. It'll be available to you on the website. It'll be available for you right before you apply. It'll be emailed to you to download it once you submit the application. And then once you log in into the portal to upload your documents, it'll be available there as well. So it'll be available to you in different areas. The second document is business financial information, most recent tax returns filed, and that can be either 2019 or 2018 if you don't have 2019 yet. Now, keep in mind, these have to be provided in an electronic form so that you can upload it, and that can be either a PDF or JPEG format. If you need assistance with that, we can help you, and I'll have a little bit more information here in the next couple of slides, but please know that your tax returns, the entire packet has to be uploaded. The third document is a copy of an official filing with the California Secretary of State, if applicable, or one of the following, which is articles of incorporation, certificate of organization, fictitious name statement, or government issued business license. And that can be a local city license, that can be your daycare license, that can be your seller's permit. It can be any license that has been provided to you by a government agency. And the fourth document is a government issued photo ID, and that can be your driver's license or a passport. Now, I see something in the chat, so I'm just going to pause here just to answer a couple of questions and before we proceed with the live demonstration. So the first question is, I am at the end of the application. I have uploaded documents. Do I need to provide banking information at this time? The answer is no, and I will show you that where it says that the banking information will only be required after you are notified that you have been selected for the grant. So for the time being, you do not need to provide banking information. It will say that it's pending. It will tell you that document upload is pending. That is okay. As long as you have everything else completed, you are fine. The next question is, even do I got this legend, banking information is only necessary for those applicants selected to move forward. I log out and log in, and I was able to link my bank with Lendistry. Is this correct? Please advise. Yes, that's correct. It is something that they're trying to work on. They were not able to get rid of it completely, so they are letting you know that it's okay if it says that it's still pending. That's why they added this little message down at the bottom, and I'll show you that in the next few slides how what it will say. But do not worry, you do not need to provide your banking information. If you did, that's okay, but you do not need to provide it. The next question is, do we need to use a social security number or corporate ID? So under the owner details, you will need to provide a social security number. Under the business information, it's going to ask you for EIN. If you do not have an employer identification number for the business, you can use your social security number in that place as well. Can I use my social if I don't have an EIN? Yes. Where it's asking you for a business EIN, you can use your social security number there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. That way we can continue with a live demonstration. Okay, so these are the steps that we need to take for you to fill out an application. You will need to complete an online grant application through the Lendistry portal. And the second step is that you need to upload requested documentation. Now, I want to make sure I address this with you because it's very important. As long as you have the first step completed, which is submitting your application online via the portal, you are in the system to be eligible to receive this grant, okay? Once you upload your documentation, let's say that something came up blurry, let's say that you were not able to upload everything for some reason, there was some kind of issues, you will be contacted to upload your documents or to get a document that's needed from you. As long as you complete an online application through the portal, you are in the system. You are in for selection and for review, okay? So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Step number 2, which is uploading the requested documentation, is just to help make the process a little bit easier. But if you're missing something doesn't look right, don't worry. As long as your application is submitted, you are good to go. Okay. After closing the grant application, Lendistry will collect additional information on the approved small businesses and nonprofits so that they can distribute the funds. So you will be contacted if you get selected. They will ask you for additional documents that need to be filled out so that they can disperse the grants over to you. And they will start doing that as of Friday of this week. Now, there's 3 tips that we like to share with all of you when you're going to submit an application. The first one is to make sure you use Google Chrome, okay? I know people have been having a lot of issues. Sometimes if the formatting looks funny, it's because you need to make sure that you're on Google Chrome. The other thing is that if sometimes a lot of people have been getting the issue of, the user is not found or the password's not working, the first thing that I try to tell people is go ahead and click on Forgot Password so that you can have another password sent over to you. But sometimes the issue is that it's the browser itself. There's a way for you to go incognito on the website, and I can show you how to do that once we go on there. And the reason why it's doing that is because sometimes the computer saves the memory, and it thinks that you went back to the old browser link when you're actually trying to go into the new one to put in the new password or get the new password. So if you need help with that, please give us a call if you're having issues and we can help you get through that. Now, the second tip is to use a valid email address. So make sure that your email does not start with info at, or make sure it doesn't end with at contact or at no reply, because those emails are not being accepted. You have to make sure that you use an email address that's going to come directly to you, that it does not include any of these words, otherwise the system will not accept it. And the third tip is to make sure that you're scanning your documents properly. And there is a specific way that they are requesting that. If you look here on the screen, on the left-hand side, they have the acceptable electronic submission. There are different applications that you can use that you can download from your phone, or for example, if you have an iPhone, when you go to your notes section, there's actually a way for you to take a picture of something and scan it. You can do that as well, but please make sure that it does not look like the one on the right, where you can see your hands or it's crooked, it's not a clear page. Those will not be acceptable. And so if you need help with that, we are doing curbside scanning here at our Downtown Business Hub. We can give you an appointment. Same-day appointments are available. If all you need is to scan the document so that you can upload them, we can do that. We can scan it to your email. If you need help with the application and the scanning, we can do that as well. So please give us a call so that we can get in touch with you and we can help you out with your application. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a live demonstration of the application. I do want to point out that in the chat earlier, before we started, I did put the link that will take you directly to the application. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the website so that I can show you where you can find additional information, and then I will go directly to the link to submit an application. So let's do that next. Okay, so this is the CAReliefgrant.com website, and this is where you will see all of the additional information about the grant program. You'll find a menu here that will take you to find a partner, any information about the program, any other webinars, frequently asked questions, and it'll take you to application tips and other videos that you can look at. Please keep in mind the deadline is to January the 13th, 11:59 p.m. So please, if you have not started, please get in contact with us so that we can help you out. Now, if you scroll down, you're going to apply through a partner, and you have to make sure, just like Janet was sharing at the beginning of the webinar, when you're ready to upload documents, you have to go back to that same site that you applied. If some of you had trouble because maybe you did multiple applications, that could be one of the issues, that you did it through different sites. And what I mean by sites is when you look for by county, like Fresno, you'll see all these different partners in the area that are also helping this application. So you have to make sure that if you apply through ours here, you click on Apply Now, you look for the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation, Apply Now. Here it's going to say in partnership with Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation. When you scroll down, you'll see find the right kind that needs to fit your business needs. Click here to apply. This is for the first time you're starting the application. If you need to upload documents and you need to, or you didn't finish your application, you need to edit it, you need to come back to this same site and then use this site, the right site, where it says assistant customer sign into your account. You're going to get a username and password emailed to you, and this is where you log in so that you can continue editing your application, submit it, or to upload documents. So if you're having issues with that, make sure that you go back to the site that you originally applied for. Okay, when you click on here, click here to apply, it's then going to take you into this site. It's going to give you two different options. The option on the left is going to be for-profit businesses. The option on the right is going to be for nonprofit businesses, organizations, I'm sorry. What happened a lot is that a lot of people were clicking on the nonprofit and submitting an application that was wrong by mistake. If you did that, it's okay. You can go back to the same portal and then go on the left and click apply now. It will allow you to apply as long as you haven't already tried applying before. Please let us know if you did that so that we can make sure we go back and delete your nonprofit application. Some of you were getting some weird questions about what type of nonprofit are you? Well, that means that you submitted the wrong application or that you're filling out the wrong application. So go back to the same page and click on the one on the left. So you're going to click on apply now, and then it's going to take you straight into the application. So I'm going to now switch to my demo site so that I can begin to fill out the application. Okay, so for this instance, I'm going to use a restaurant business so that I can fill out the application under my fictitious restaurant. In this case here, it's going to ask you for the first name and last name of the owner. So make sure you type that in correctly, and then it's going to ask you for the email address. So make sure that you are using a valid email address, just like I described it earlier in the presentation. Make sure it doesn't have info, make sure it doesn't have contact, make sure it doesn't have no replies so that it can accept that email address for you. Okay, and make sure that the email is both, that they both match. Now they do want your cell phone number, and that is because they want to use that to be in contact with you through text messages in regards to your application. So make sure that you provide, we recommend that you provide your cell phone number so that they can send you the text messages. Now the next thing is business name. So in my case, I'm going to put Yeti's Restaurant. And my business is located in Kerman. So I'm going to put the zip code of my business, which is 93630. And in the box, you're going to select I accept the SMS text policy so that you can accept for Industry to get in contact with you via text message. So they will get in contact with you via calling you, via text messages, and via email. You're going to select continue. Once you select continue, it's going to give you a success message on top that is in green. That means you can now continue with the application. Now the next is owner details. Some of the information has already been pre-populated here because it already took it from the information you provided above. So just make sure that it's all correct. So owner name, last name, email, cell phone, and then you go to the owner address. Now it says here, please do not enter a PO box. So make sure that you don't enter a PO box and that you put in the address where you live. So I'm going to use, for these purposes, I'm going to use our work address here. Owner address 2 is not required if you don't have a second line for the address. So I'm going to switch over here to the city. I'm going to go over to the state, which is California. And then owner zip code. So now you see how the owner zip code automatically populated, but that's where my business is located. So I'm going to delete that and I'm going to put my address, which is where I live. I'm going to put that zip code, 93721. County, I'm still in Fresno County for my resident address. And then it's going to ask you for the owner's date of birth. You have two options. You can click here and it's going to bring up a calendar, or you click again on the line and then it'll allow you to go ahead and type it in yourself. So I'm going to put in my date of birth. Make sure that you put it in the format that it's requesting, which is 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, and 2 digits for the year. The next is social security number. This is where you put ID number. For those of you that have an I-10, you can put it in this place here. And next is the percent of ownership. If you and your husband own the business, then maybe it's 50-50, maybe it's 60-40, or maybe it's 100% if you own the business yourself. The next thing is that you have to accept the terms and conditions. And what this means is that Industry is going to do a soft credit pool for you to be able to apply. Now, that will not affect your credit score. They're only doing this for safety purposes, and it will not have any kind of impact on your credit score whatsoever. However, you must accept the terms and conditions for you to apply. So you're going to click on Save and Agree so that it can allow us to continue to the next section. Okay. Now, the next section is business information. Again, this information is populated here because I provided it at the beginning. The next thing is DBA. What are you doing business as? And please note, if you do not have a DBA, tag none. So if you don't have one, you can tag none. For my purposes of this example, I'm going to say Getty's Restaurant. Now, with this business EIN, only digits and cannot contain special character or spaces. In my case, I am going to say that I do not have an EIN, so I'm just going to use my social security number here. So again, just to answer some of those questions that we had earlier in the chat, if you do not have EIN, you can put your social security number there. The next one is the business phone number. I'm going to put in the business phone number here, and then it's going to ask for business type. In my case, my company is set up as a sole proprietor with employees, so I'm going to select that one. And then it's going to ask the date of incorporation. Now, this question is kind of funny and maybe a little tricky. If you select that you are a corporation, it wants to know what state did you incorporate, because sometimes it is a case of people that the corporations were incorporated in another state. For you, if you're just a sole proprietor, if you're here in California, don't worry, just go ahead and answer California. The next one is a business address. And it says, again, please do not enter a PO box. So make sure if you have a business from home, if you use a PO box as a mailing address, please make sure you use your physical location. Go ahead and put your home address for this section if your business address only shows as a PO box. So in my case, I'm going to put an address of where my business is located. I don't have a second line for the address. Now the Kerman is in the city of Kerman. The state now I'm going here is going to be California. And county is still Fresno County in my case. Okay. Now the zip code where my business is located, I'm going to enter it here. And then I'm going to put down when my date the business was established. Again, it's going to give you an option for you to do it through the calendar, or you can type it in here and say that you started your business on the date that you started. So you can type it in or you can select the calendar. The next is asking you for the business website URL. If you do not have a website, it's okay. You can type none.com, or you can go ahead and type in the website that you have for your business. Now, the next section here is saying, how can we help you? So this is now getting to the questions about the grant. It's asking you, what's the purpose of the grant? And the way that you select this is, if you were to get the grant, what would be the primary area you would use the grant for? It's okay if you say that you're going to use it for payroll, for rent, for utilities. You can use it for those areas. For this purpose, you can only select one. So in my case, I'm going to select payroll. The next one says, what is the amount requested? Now notice there's a little item here that says check eligibility. It gives you this little pop-up box to remind you, where are you at as far as your annual revenue, so that you can look to see what is the eligible amount you would qualify for. So if you're between 1,000 and 100,000 in revenue, you're eligible for 5,000. If you're between 100,000 and a million, you're eligible for 15,000. And if you're between $1 million and $2.5 million, you're eligible for 25,000. So in my case, I'm going to say that I'm eligible for $50,000 because my revenue was about $500,000. Now, the next question is, will this grant create new jobs? And what that's asking is saying, if I was to receive the $15,000, will I be hiring new employees? For this purposes, I'm going to say no. I do not plan on hiring new employees if I get this money, because I plan on using it for payroll and for rent and utilities. So in this case, it's no. However, your case might be different. If you do plan on hiring a new employee, maybe you're getting busier and you need to hire someone. So that might be your case. Please select the most appropriate for you. The next question is annual revenue for your business. So in this case, it's asking for 2019, what was your annual revenue? And for this example, I am going to say that my annual revenue was $500,000. And then it's asking me for number of full-time employees. And this is as of the end of December of 2020. So as of December 31st of 2020, I had 2 full-time employees. And then it's asking you for part-time employees. And I'm going to say that I had 2 part-time employees as of December 31st of 2020. And so the next questions are going to be related to that same year of 2020. It's going to ask how many jobs were created, meaning how many new jobs did you create in that year. So if these 2 full-time employees and the 2 part-time employees are the employees that you've always had for the past 3 years, then you put 0 here. But if one of these jobs, whether it was a full-time or a part-time, was a new position in 2020, then you would put 1 or however many jobs were created that year. In my case, it's 0 since I've always had those 4 employees. So next is number of jobs retained. So since those 4 employees have been with me since I started my business, that means I have retained those 4 employees. So those 4 jobs have been retained since then. Again, if you have any questions, just a reminder, make sure you put that in the chat box. We're almost done. So the next section is the business demographics. So the first question is, who is your customer base? And it'll give you a little, when you hover over here, it'll say business to business, business to consumer, or both. What this is asking is, who is your customer? Do you, do business with other businesses, or do you sell directly to the consumer? In my case, for example, I'm using the restaurant is business to consumer, so I'm going to select B2C. Now the next section here is you have to pay attention, because what does your business do? What type of business is it? And tell us more. Our questions are all connected here together. So depending on which one you select here is going to give you the next one. So if I select construction business here, the next one is going to give me general contractor and special trade. If I need a construction business if I select service business and I go back to this one, what type of business is it? The general contractor is gone. So feel free to play around with the different options. If you do not find your type of business right away, please select the different types so that you can see. And if for some reason you just cannot find your own, it's okay to go ahead and mark unknown. Once your documentation is reviewed, they will be able to tell what type of business you are once they look at your tax returns and your business license and whatnot. So for my instance, I'm going to put that it's a service business because I am considered to be in the food service industry. This one is one that kind of threw people off a little bit because of the way that it's formatted. Because once you go to what type of business is it, you really didn't find anywhere that said restaurant or food. It's kind of hidden in entertainment. When you click entertainment, it will take you to the next one where it says tell us more. And then you can see it here. It'll tell you full service restaurant, limited service restaurant franchise, full service bar or lounge, or a bar lounge including entertainment. So for those of you that might have been having a little bit of trouble finding your restaurant, this is where it's at. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to say the example is a full service restaurant. Okay, moving on to the next section is the NAICS code, NAICS code. This is a code that is to basically connect it to a particular street that you are, that your business is in. And so if you don't know it, that's okay. It allows you to click here to find your NAICS code. So when you click there, it's going to take you to this website here. And here you can look for your NAICS code. Usually I tell people just go straight to where it says has a little magnifying glass for you to search for the NAICS code, or you can click here as well, whichever one you want to click on. It's then going to take you to this section where it's going to ask you to enter a keyword to find your code. So I'm going to put restaurant here. I'm going to click on search. And it's going to give me various options. Select the one that is the most appropriate to you. And let's say that yours is a unique business, it's very different, and you don't find an exact match. That's okay. Use the one that's the closest to your description. It does not have to be exact to your type of business. So in my case, for this instance, I'm going to select the one that says full service restaurant, fine dining restaurant, full service. So I'm going to copy this code, or I'm also going to write it down, 722-511. And I'm going to go back to my application and I'm going to input it in this section here. And it's 722-511. And that's how you find your NAICS code. If you have any issues with it, please feel free to give us a call. Now, the next question is asking about demographic information. And now keep in mind, this is going to be asking about 51% or more ownership of the business. So if I am a husband and wife and we're 50-50, just because I am the woman that's filling out the application, I am not 51% more owner. So that means I cannot answer yes here. The business has to be at least 51% or more owned by this particular individual. So in my case, I'm going to say yes because I own 100% of the business, just like I said up here. Okay. Now let's say that I am 90%, my husband is 10%, and my husband happens to be a veteran. Do I select yes or no? The answer is no, because 51% of the business or more is not veteran, which is myself. So again, please keep in mind that this is related to 51% or more ownership demographics. Disabled here, I'm going to select no. And in the race, I'm going to look from my race, which is the owner, and I'm going to look, in my case, is white, and then go over to ethnicity, and I'm going to select Hispanic or Latino. Okay. The next question is franchise. Is this business a franchise? I'm going to say no. And then ask me, is this in a rural community? And I'm going to say yes, because if you remember, even though I live in Fresno, my business is located in Kerman, which is considered a rural community. And so now we come to the last section of the application, which is disclosures. And the first question is saying, is your business 51% minority or veteran owned? And so for you to identify if you are a minority, look at the list of and that will allow you to determine if that is for you. In my case, Latinx or Hispanic is here, so I will select yes because I am considered a minority. Now, the next two questions are both in relation to each other. The first question is, what was your gross revenue for your business April 1st, 2019 through September 30th of 2019? And then you notice the next question is, what was your gross revenue for your business from April 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2020? Now, if you remember at the beginning, I shared with you a couple of factors that are going to be looked at to determine for you if you're eligible to receive a grant. Now, this section does not mean you're going to get disqualified or that you're going to automatically get it. It's just one more factor that they look at, and they want to look at what was your revenue losses. And this is the area that they determine that. So they want to know from April 1st of 2019 to September 30th of 2019, before the pandemic happened, what was your annual revenue? So for my example, I am going to say that my revenue for those 6 months of 2019 was $300,000. Okay. Again, that's for April 1st of 2019 through September 30th of 2019. Now, the next question is, what was the gross revenue for your business April 1st, 2020 through September 30th of 2020? This is after the pandemic was declared, after some companies and businesses had to shut down. So I am going to put down, since I am using the example here as a restaurant, I did have to shut down. My business was severely impacted, and my revenue for those months was only $100,000 for those 6 months of 2020. Okay, so now as you can see, they will measure my loss compared from the prior year to the 2020 year when the pandemic was declared. Now, question number 4 is your business currently in need of business advising or technical assistance services? There's no right or wrong answer. You can select yes or you can select no, depending if you would like additional assistance for your business. I'm going to select yes for purposes of this example, but please note there's no right or wrong answer. The next question is your business currently in need of a business loan? I am going to select no, as I am not in need of a current business loan. However, please select the answer that's most appropriate for your business. And the last question is, during the last 9 months, has your business received any COVID-19 related emergency grants? Now, this is another question that confuses people a little bit. Depending on your answer here, if you select yes, it's going to populate a couple of the questions. The first question is only going to allow you to select one answer. In my case, for my example, I am going to say that I received this SBA's Paycheck Protection Program loan, the PPP. Okay, so now the first question says, if yes, what was the name of the program for which you received funding? So I'm going to select the drop down, look at the different options, and I'm going to select the SBA PPP. Now, what happens if you received more than one? You only select one of them, even if you got all 3. Or let's say that it's not there. You select on other if it's not there. And then on the next one, we're asking you if yes, what was the total amount of relief funds? So if you got more than one, you put a total here of all of the programs combined. So if you got the SBA and a grant from the city of Fresno, or you got the SBA and the EIDL loan, you put the total amount here. Okay. If you only got one, then you put whatever that grant was for. So in this case, I'm only using the SBA PPP as an example. And for that, I am going to say that I received $20,000. Okay. Once you're done with the application, you click on submit, and it's going to give you another box for you to verify. And it's basically saying, hey, are you sure you're ready to submit? Because once you have submitted your application, you will no longer be able to edit your responses. You are agreeing that the information provided is accurate. Have yes to continue. So if you're sure that all of the information you provided is correct, you're going to type yes, and then going to give you the option to continue. So now let's say that you're not ready. Okay, let's say that you're not sure of something, you didn't have it handy, you need to go back and double check. Then you simply click on save continue later. And what's going to happen is it's going to allow you to go back so that you can edit it and submit it. For this purpose, I'm going to say yes, I am ready to submit. And notice that you no longer have the option to say continue. Now the only option is for you to say continue, meaning that your information that you provided is ready to go and you do not need to make any more changes. Now, there were a few of you that at the beginning when the grant application opened, you filled in an application, and because there was a lot of delay in the system, it kicked you out, or it timed you out, you didn't get to finish. That's okay. You should have received an email and a password so that you can go back, log in, edit your application, and submit it. Okay. Now, if you submit your application and then later on you said, "Oh my God, I messed up. I put the wrong information," then contact us if you need to make a correction to your application, as you will no longer be able to edit it yourself. So I'm going to continue here, and then it will give me a message, and it says this grant program was funded by the state of California and is administered by the Office of Small Business Advocates, Calova. Please check your email, including your clutter, junk, and spam folder, username, and password from notifyviolation.com to activate your account and upload documentation. Now, let me show you what the email is going to look like. Okay. Now that you submitted your application, this is what the email is going to look like. It's going to come from industry, and it's going to say, "Hi, Yay, thank you for applying for the California Relief Grant. The link below will take you to the portal and the new account created for Yay's restaurant. Please use this link to add additional information or upload requested documentation." And then if I click here to log in, it's going to take me to this area here for me to log in. Let's see if it allows me to do it. I'm not sure if because this is a test site, it will not allow me to do it. So I just want to show you that this is what it's going to look like. Okay. So now let's go back to the presentation so that I can show you how it will look like when you're ready to upload documents. Okay, so now, as you saw, immediately after submitting your application, you will receive the link so that you can upload documents. You will receive the email with the username and password. Now, just like Janet mentioned at the beginning, make sure that if you take a break in between, and you go back to that same site to log in. Okay, do not go to a new partner. Do not go to the general site and find a new organization. Go back to the same one. Then once you log in, the first thing I recommend you do is download the application certification. So, and then you can begin uploading the rest of the documents. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to see a list of all of the documents, and it's going to give you the option. Once you highlight it, you're going to select it, and it's going to turn gray. That means that you're ready to upload a document for that particular document. Then you're going to go to browse so that you can look for the document in your computer. Once you select that document in your computer, it's going to ask you for a password. You put in the password that you use to log in, or after you log in, it'll prompt you to change your own password. So once you change your password, that's the password that you will use moving forward. And once you're done with that, you click on upload documents. And you will do that for every single item until you start seeing it completed here. So notice here at the top, it says application certification completed. That means that you have successfully uploaded that documentation and that you are done with that section. Now, if you go to the next slide here, it'll show you what the preview looks like. So notice that all of these documents here show completed next to it. You can see them down at the bottom. So in this preview section, if you double click, it'll show you that in fact is your government issued ID, just so you can double check and make sure that the document you uploaded is correct. Okay. Now here's the big one. Here's where a lot of people are getting confused. The banking information is not required at this time. It will still show us pending, and it will still show you that you need to upload it. But please know they're trying to fix it. Lenders is trying to fix it. Even though it shows you pending, it's okay. Do not worry about it. Now let me show you what it looks like in two different perspectives. The one on the left is giving you for you to log in and your application is complete. It will give you a message here saying your application is incomplete, and it'll give you the option to edit the application. Okay. If this is the message you get when you log in, that means that you did not submit your application at all. Maybe you filled it out, but you did not complete it. You did not submit it. So make sure that's submitted first. Okay. Now, if it looks like it does on the right on the side, it will give you the option to upload documents and bank information. It will only give you the option to upload documents if the application has successfully been submitted. Okay. If you did not get this option to upload documents, that means something went wrong with your application. That means that maybe it timed out, maybe it didn't submit correctly. It means that you still have to go back, edit it, and submit it. Okay. Now, this means that all you need to do is upload documents. And as long as you get this message that your application is complete, you're in the queue, you're in the round, and you are in consideration for this grant. Okay. Now, for those of you that submitted an application before the weekend, you all got an email over the weekend that looked like this. And it basically said, "Hi, Joe. Thank you for applying for the California Relief Grant. Please review the information below and complete your application." This is an example that was sent to everyone. It did not mean that that was your situation. People tried clicking on the link here to go to upload the documents, and they were getting errors because it was not intended for you to go and click here. Okay, this was just an example of what it would look like. And it says, "Confirm your application is complete. Upload the required documents. See the image below, which is the application certification, the government ID, and the tax return completed. And once confirmed, no further actions are required until the application selections have been made, which will begin on January the 15th. And so then it goes to show you that this one says complete, this one says completed, and this one says completed. And then the last two say pending. Okay, notice that here in the green, it says banking information only needs to be provided by the applicants who are approved for the grant. Nobody has been approved yet. That will not start until the application closes after Wednesday. So in this case, nobody is required to submit their banking information. So then the next message, as it continues, the email, it says, after completing the 3 required uploads, pending document upload, just like it says it down here, will continue to appear. And Lendistry is telling you this is okay. The banking information is only necessary for those applicants elected to move forward. Again, we know and I understand that this might sound confusing to you, but as long as you have completed next to these documentation, you are good to go. It will still continue to say pending document upload. Don't worry. That means that it's because of the banking info, and that's just a system glitch that will continue to appear there, even though you have already uploaded your information. Okay. Now, again, as a reminder, I did put in the chat box the direct application link for you to access the application directly, and also the login portal information. Okay. Now, I will go ahead. I do want to remind all of you that our team here at the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation is available to assist you. Please give us a call, contact us. We can give you an appointment to come in. We can help you scan your documents. We can help you over the phone. Please contact us as soon as possible so we can help you get your application in. Okay. Now I'm going to go over to the chat box so that I can go ahead and answer some of these questions for you. Can we reside in Stanislaus to apply through Fresno Partnership? Yes, you can. As long as you always go back to our partner site to either edit your application or upload your documents, make sure you always stick to the same one. Okay. What is the role of the partner? So the way that, because keep in mind that this program was offered at the state level through the state of California. The Lendistry is the company that was selected to operate the program, and it's the platform that is being used. Partners like ourselves, like the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation and 100 other partners throughout the state of California, are helping small businesses through the process of submitting an application. So we have direct contact with Lendistry, and we're getting the training and the information so that we can then relate it to the small businesses that are helping, that are submitting the application. And so our role is to make sure that we are answering your questions, that we are assisting you with the process, and that we're helping you get the application submitted and the documents uploaded. So that is the role that we have in this program. Next question is, all docs are uploaded and complete. I entered my bank info and saved. Is the linking mandatory? So again, the answer to that is no. The banking information is not mandatory, only after you have been selected. The next question is, does the application automatically save updates, or do we have to re-enter things if it has not been submitted? The answer is yes. Remember that very first section we completed with the owner name, email, phone number, and business name, and zip code. The moment you submit that and you click on continue, it'll automatically generate the email for you. However, depending on the situation of how you left the page, there is a possibility that some of that information was not saved. And when you log back in, you may have to re-enter it. If you logged out yourself or you closed it out after a section that allowed you to save and continue, then there is a possibility that your information will still be on there. So it just depends at what point of the application you left. So again, as a reminder, when you get the username and password, you will be able to go back and edit your application and so that you can submit it. The next question says, my brother-in-law owned this business for 14 years. It was transferred to my name as January 1st, 2020. Do I qualify for the grant? The answer is yes. So what's going to happen is that they're going to ask for basically verification of when the business went under your name. And so what you can do is you can do that a couple of ways. There's a way for you to upload additional documentation with the business license, for example. Maybe what you can do is you can include the old business license under your brother-in-law's name and the new license under your name so that they can see that now it's under your name. You can also upload a purchase agreement of you buying the business from him or him transferring the business to you. Any other documentation that you can think of would be useful. Regardless, if you do get selected, most likely Lendistry will contact you so that you can provide that documentation if you don't already provide it in the uploads. Okay. The next question is, do we have to enter bank info right now or should we wait until we are approved? The answer is wait until you are approved. You do not need to do that. And part of the reason is because there are still some banks that are not part of the system. So there is a chance that depending on the bank that you do your banking with, there is a chance that your bank may not be on that list yet. And so that is why they're not requiring you to submit your banking information right now. The next question is the deadline for just the application or is it also including the documents? So there's a little bit of confusion there because as some of you know, there has been some tech issues and glitches since the beginning of the program. And so what Lendistry is communicating to everyone is as long as your application has been submitted through the portal, you are in the list to be considered for this grant. As long as your application is submitted by January the 13th, 11:59 p.m., you will be considered for the grant. For you to upload the documents, if you are missing something or you didn't get to upload your documents by 11:59 p.m., you will still be contacted by Lendistry, so you can do that as long as your application was submitted before the deadline. Okay, so I hope that was clear to you. Is Modesto considered a rural community? If we receive, so it will depend where you are located. Abdel, so we can help you out with that. There's also a description on the grant website that tells you what rural is considered, and I believe is a population of under 50,000. So depending on the zip code, there's a way for you to look it up, or depending on the community, it will tell you if it's considered rural or not. So if you need more help with that, please call us and we can help you out. The next question is, if we received both the EIDL and the SBA PPP loan, which one do you include? The answer is you include both. So let's say that you got 20,000 for the EIDL and let's say you got 30,000 for the SBA PPP. That means that at the very last question where it's asking you which program did you get and how much, for the first question, it's only going to allow you to select one. So you can either select the EIDL or you can select the SBA PPP, whichever you like. The second question after that, it wants the total. So right there, you would put the 30,000, I'm sorry, the 50,000, okay? You combine both and you put the total in that section. So the answer is both, you include both. The next question is the Saver Small Business Grant local or other? That would be local. So if you got one from the city of Fresno, the county of Fresno, or from the city that you are located in, that would be considered the local / municipality grant, I believe. Okay, the next one says, you said we can apply for the grant, and I thought you said we can upload documentation later, such as tax returns, and then we will be required to submit them before money issued. Is this correct? So correct. So what's going to happen is you do the first two parts. You submit the application and you upload documents. If you get selected, Lendistry will contact you and they will require additional documentation. And part of that documentation are things like a W-9 form, which means that they need for them to know where to send you the 1099 form for you to include it as in your income tax. And they're going to want a couple other verification forms like your bank information. So if you do get selected, we're just making you aware that there are still a couple more documents you have to submit that Lendistry will require of you if and only you get selected for the grant. Next question is, where do I get the business certification form from? So there are going to be a couple of areas where you can find that. The first place you can find it is on the email that you get. Once you submit the application, it's going to give you a link for you to download it. The next section, and let me show you here real quick. Let me go, I'm gonna stop sharing my presentation so that I can show you where's the other area you can go to. So when you go, when you go to apply now, and you click here to apply, right before you hit apply now, it will give you the option to download the application certification here. So you download it, and this is it right here. It will also get emailed to you once you submit the application, and then it will also be available for you to download once you log in and start to upload documents. Okay. So I'll go back to the presentation. The next question is, are mobile food vendors eligible, or do they need to have a permanent location? Mobile food vendors are eligible as long as you started your business before June 1st of 2019, as long as you have either 2018 or 2019 tax returns, and as long as you were under the threshold of $2.5 million of annual revenue. And what you would be providing for your documentation would be any business license that you may have, and that could be either from the city, that can be your fictitious name, it can be your seller's permit, whatever license you have for your business is what you can use. The next question is, going back to that mobile food vendor, the address you would use would be your home address. It's okay for you to use your home address for that. The next question is, will you speak to nonprofit organizations in this webinar? I will not. This one is dedicated for small businesses. However, if you do have a specific question, I would be more than happy to discuss it here, John, or you can also contact us and we can help you out directly with your nonprofit question. Is it okay to use a best guess for NAICS code? Yes, it's okay. However, let me make sure that best guess means the best fit. Once you do the search and you really can't find the exact description for your business, that is okay. You can use the one that best fits according to whatever you come across, as long as it's not off. Make sure that it's still within the same industry that you're looking that you are the line of business in. Since I am in Modesto, can I submit the application through your program? Absolutely. Yes, you can. It is all going to the same program, which is, to the state of California program. Again, we are just using the site partners so that we can have a more organized way in which we help the people that are applying and that we can appropriately track for your application. So if you have an issue with your application and you went through our link, they know exactly where to look to find your status. So yes, even though you're in Modesto, you can submit the application through our site. Okay. Any other questions? So I just want to remind everybody of our contact information. We are here available to assist you via phone, via email. If you need assistance with scanning some of your documentation, please give us a call so that we can give you an appointment. We can give you a same-day appointment so we can get those documents scanned for you and make sure that you upload them correctly. Please follow us on social media so that we can keep you up to date on the different information. I just saw a question come through. When is round 2? There is no definite date for that yet. It will be in the next couple of weeks once the first round is dispersed. So half of the $475 million is expected to be dispersed in the first round. And so we are expecting a round 2 timeframe around February. As soon as we have that information, we will make sure that we get it out to all of you through our email system, and we'll make sure we post it on our website and our social media. So please make sure that you follow us and that you can be in touch with us. To get confirmation of proper submittal, can we call you? Yes, it's okay. Please give us a call if you're unsure, if you're not sure if it went through or not. Now, let me clarify this. You're only going to get one confirmation, and that's when you submit the application online. When you submit your documents, you will not be getting any additional email confirmations for that. Your confirmation will be that you have completed in green next to your documents. And for you to verify that, you can log out, log back in, and as long as the green completed is still next to your documents, that means you're good to go. But you will only be getting one email confirmation, and that's when you submit your application through the portal. Are self-employed who work from their home able to apply? Yes, as long as you meet all of the other eligibility. Self-employed individuals or people that get 1099 forms are eligible to apply. Okay, thank you so much for all of you that joined us today. I'm going to stop the recording now so that we can make sure we get this posted and sent out via email in case you would like to listen to it again. Otherwise, please feel free to give us a call so that we can help you out. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.